Zephyr was a magic place. Spirits walked in the moonlight. We had windstorms and droughts, and the river that lay alongside my town had a bad habit of flooding. We had a dark queen who was 106 years old. We had a gunfighter who saved the life of Wyatt Earp at the OK Corral. We had a monster in the river and a secret in the lake. We had a ghost that haunted the road behind the wheel of a black dragster with flames on the hood. We had a Gabriel and a Lucifer, and a rebel that rose from the dead. We had an alien invader, a boy with a perfect arm, and we had a dinosaur loose on Merchant Street. It was a magic place. Welcome back again to the library, Readers and Rapscallions. Ian here, and today I'm going to be sharing some of my thoughts on a book that I checked out because it checks some boxes. It's something that I was told is a coming-of-age story. It's got some magical realism and supernatural elements. It's really good for fans of Stephen King, all that stuff. Some people who are kind of smart told me that it was a book that I would like, and oh boy did I. It started off as something I was interested in and ended up being an all-timer. And that's going to be Boy's Life by Robert McCammon. I just finished this one about a week ago or so. I was just kind of gathering my thoughts on it. And Boy's Life is like Swan's Song, also by Robert McCammon. So Mr. McCammon now is 2 for 2 for me. When I say 2 for 2, I don't mean books I enjoyed. I mean 5-star, 10 out of 10, all-timers. This book was an absolute treat to read, and I was finding myself at work and waiting to to get home already so I could hurry up and read more. It was just amazing. But let's get into what it's about. Zephyr, Alabama is an idyllic hometown for 11-year-old Corey Mackinson, a place where monsters swim the river deep and friends are forever. Then, one cold spring morning, Corey and his father witness a car plunge into a lake, and a desperate rescue attempt brings his father face to face with a terrible, haunting vision of death. As Corey struggles to understand his father's pain, his eyes are slowly opened to the forces of good and evil that surround him. From an ancient mystic who can hear the dead and bewitch the living, to a violent clan of moonshiners, Corey must confront the secrets that hide in the shadows of his hometown, for his father's sanity and his own life hang in the balance. Yeah, so Boy's Life is a story of Corey and his town, his family, his friends, and the events that happen around them over the course of about a part of a year. The main narrative revolves around this first encounter that they have, he and his father, with a car that goes into a lake, and then there's a whodunit murder mystery type of story that's kind of the overarching narrative. But all throughout the story are these little episodes about the colorful characters in their town, the different happenings, the strange goings on, all the odd things that happen. There's a lot of magical realism in it, and that magical realism appears to be an interpretation of childhood whimsy and wonder. It really encapsulates that small town growing up feeling, that one summer where everything changed. This is going to be great for people who liked it. This is going to be great for people who like The Sandlot. You know, that's one of my favorite movies. And I just had a great time reading this book. It takes place in the 1960s. So it's segregation era, Deep South. Now, I'm not that old. That's my dad's generation. But I was a kid who grew up in the 90s. That was still a time when we didn't have so much handheld technology, and you were still going out with your friends and roughhousing in the backyard all summer and getting on your bike. That was your trusty steed, and going down to the corner store to get ice cream or heading to the next town over. Those were grand odysseys. This book is spectacular at capturing the wonder and the mystery and the magic that comes with every experience when you're that young, and I just absolutely loved it. McCammon is really great at using magical realism in the story to convey a sense of childhood wonder. And when you're that young, especially if you're a kid who is getting into adolescence and you're starting to get doses of the real world, but you still have that childlike wonder and curiosity about the world around you, everything kind of starts to come together, and you blend those two worlds in your mind, especially if you're an adult looking back on it. And that's how the story is told. It's told as a frightening narrative. When you're that young, your elderly eccentric neighbor is the boogeyman that kidnaps and eats children. Your dog is going to be your best friend that's with you forever, and you're going to take on the world together. All the friends that you go hang out with, you guys are never going to be separated. This summer is going to last forever. Your dad is Superman. Going to the next town over is a grand odyssey. And the way that all of those aspects of a childhood are conveyed in this story, like, I just couldn't stop reading it. I kind of felt like a kid again. It was amazing. And that sense of wonder really lets you read the book with two lenses in mind. So you can see it as a magical realism narrative where Corey is telling these stories about what happened to him, and yes, there was a river monster. Yes, there was a ghost car. Yes, there was a dinosaur in town. Yes, there was an alien invasion. And you can read that literally and take it as a fantasy story. Or you can see it as adult Corey looking back on his childhood and inscribing the whimsy, the mystique, and the magic of how he felt as a kid with the world around him, with things that he didn't quite understand, or that he just sort of let his imagination indulge and just sort of rolled with it as an adult. So you can read it through two lenses, and it's a fun way to sort of think about, well, how much of this is actually things that happened and how much of this were things that were exaggerated. And it's not just the fun, magical, whimsical times either. You also get the hard lessons and the heartbreak. This takes place in the segregation era in the Deep South. So you have there's clear separate neighborhoods for the white folks and the black folks, and the bulk of the people in the story have they do their thing and we do our thing, and that's just the way it's done. Also, being in the Deep South during that time, there are some people that have some just vile opinions about folks that are different from them, and that shows in the story. And it's also the 1960s. That was a changing era. You had new technology. That's kind of around the time that refrigeration became widespread. It reminds me a little bit when I grew up. When I was a kid, the internet was like just a brand new thing. I don't know, I must have been like 8 or 9 years old, something like that, six, somewhere in there when we got our first home computer. So it wasn't like I remember when this was all fields, but I do remember the pre-digital times, and that element of how the world changed during this 1 year in this boy's life really kind of hit me a little bit and kind of made me realize, yeah, I've experienced my own share of change in my life. And with the parts of the story, you get the harder lessons as well, the stories about loss. Unfortunately, when you're a kid, you may well get your first experience of what it's like for someone to go out of your life forever. That could be a friend, a relative, the family pet, God forbid, a parent that passes away, for example, and you have to kind of square with that because you might just be at the age where you're really kind of understanding for the first time what that means. Or if you have that one friend that comes up to you and says, hey, parents are saying that we're going to move 4 states over. You don't get a grand heist quest to try and get them to stay. They come to you and say they're leaving, and then the next day they're gone, and you might not get to say goodbye. And that's just how life is. And then there's the other lesson that is a little bit on the grim side that you may learn, hopefully not. But when you're a kid, you might learn for the first time that the monsters aren't the ones in the river or in the closet or under the bed. The monsters are the ones that shake your hand and call you sport and pat you on the shoulder and can be the friendliest people that you know. and they might just be the ones that are the most terrifying. That brings into a question, with all this praise I'm heaping on it, what kind of book is it? What genre is Boy's Life? And the answer to that question is yes. I've been to 4 different bookstores and seen them on the shelf. I've seen it in literature and fiction. I've seen it in horror. I saw it in historical fiction in all those different sections. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got some scary stuff in it. There's the whimsy and wonder and magic. It's a coming of age story. It's got that small town horror element. It has that small town supernatural element. You even get stuff like, you even get a chapter that feels a lot like a Western. It's just, there's a little bit in it for everybody. I wouldn't change a single word of this book. It's one of the few that I can point out that every single thing in the book is well placed, needed, and I couldn't think of anything better to do with it. It was just sensational. I can't recommend this book enough. I had such an incredible time reading this story. It made me want to go back and made me want to read it again immediately. Unfortunately, I have other books I need to read, but this is going to be on the reread pile very, very soon. Okay, Readers and Rapscallions, that's going to do it for today. This was a wonderful time to read this book. I seriously cannot recommend it enough. It was perfect for anybody who wants to relive the magic of childhood. Great for fans of Stephen King. If you've read other McCammon books and you somehow haven't gotten to this one, pick it up right away. It was just sensational. Thank you guys very much for watching. Give me a like and subscribe if you feel like I've earned it. And we will see you next time in the library.